Hey guys, welcome back to Katie's Classroom. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving break and hope that you're ready to get back to learning. I know my students are. About 10 of them have come in while I've been trying to record this video, so it's been a little difficult this morning. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about rate of change and introducing you to slope, a very important concept in the math world. And so I hope you learn a lot from this video, and I hope you're ready to learn.
Before we get into learning about the rate of change, let's review a few things. First, let's recall what a rate is. So a rate is a ratio where the two quantities being compared are in different units. So the numbers have different labels, is basically what we're saying here. So a rate, remember, can be written as a fraction with a colon. So here would be an example. Let's say that in my bowl, for every 4 Skittles I have, there are 5 M&Ms. You may be thinking that's a weird combination, but it's actually a pretty good snack. Skittles with peanut M&Ms. Anyways, so see here we have Skittles and M&Ms, 2 different labels, 2 different units being compared. Then we have what you would call a unit rate. Okay, that is a ratio of 2 quantities where the denominator is 1. Let's say that for every 10 miles I used 2 gallons of gas, and I'm just using random numbers here. Okay, so to turn this into a unit rate, let's divide the top by the bottom. You would get 5 miles with 1 gallon. Okay, so this would be a unit rate. The denominator is 1. So miles per gallon, miles per hour, words per minute. Those are the kinds of things you're going to hear for a unit rate. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is the rate of change. This describes the rate of increase or decrease. Okay, and specifically today we are going to be looking at a graph and determining the rate of change. So here is an example. So I already can see 2 points on the graph. You always want to pick points that they're intersecting on the y and x axis. Like if there is a point here, I'm not going to pick that point. Okay, I call them pretty points. So here is a pretty point, here is a pretty point. So it is always rise over run. And I have slope here because, yes, we're talking about rate of change. Okay, and as we move farther into these lessons, the rate of change is also called the slope, especially when looking at a graph. So we've got a line graph here. We want to know the rate of change. So as we're moving up the graph, what is the rate of change? And, you know, there's usually labels, like maybe this is miles and the x-axis is gallons. Okay, so if I have y amount of miles and I have x amount of gallons. Okay, so let me show you how to figure out what the rate of change is. All you do is you use this rise over run. So you pick one point. Okay, so I'm picking this point right here in the middle. Then you're going to count the rise and the run to the next point. So you're going to count the rise, which would be 1, 2 spaces. Then you have the run, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So again, the rise, I just picked a point, and then I went up and over to the next point. That tells me what the rate of change is. So I have 1, 2, over, and remember I counted the run was 5. So here, the rate of change would be 2 miles to 5 gallons, if that's what my graph was about. Okay, so let me show you a second example. So once again, you're just going to pick one point and count the rise to the run to the next point. So here's the point I'm going to work with first. Okay, and then I'm going to work my way up to this next yellow point. So I have 1, 2 is the rise. 1, 2, 3 is the run. So my rate of change, or my slope, is 2/3. Here's another example where the graph is going down. Okay, this is actually going to give you a negative rate of change. I'm going to start with this point and work my way down to here. Okay, see how we had to go down to go to the next point? Okay, So the rise is always the y, the run is always the x. So we're going to go down, sorry about the bell, okay, and then over, 1, 2. Okay, since we went down, this would be a negative rate of change. Here's another example of a negative rate of change. So I'm going to start with this point here. Okay, you go 1, 2, 3, down, and 1 over. It was negative because we had to go down to the next point. So you're basically always reading the graph from left to right. That's why I picked this point first. Okay, this one, as you notice, is in a straight line. We didn't go up at all. Okay, so from one point to the next. Like here would be another point, here would be another point, here would be another point. Okay, so we didn't go up at all. So the rise would be 0. The run, well, the next point is just over 1. Okay, well, 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay, so this rate of change is 0, or there is no rate of change. So now we have a vertical line. Okay, so here, let's pick this point. Okay, well the rise would be 1, 2, 3 if we wanted to go up to the next one. Okay, and the run would be 0 because we didn't go over at all. Well, you can't divide by 0. Okay, so this slope would actually be called undefined. Okay, that's all the examples I have for you, but let's talk about a couple things that I have seen confuse students. So we kind of touched on before, what point should I pick? Okay, you can pick any points as long as they are intersecting where there is a y and an x. The points will not always be given to you. You might just be given a line, and you might have to pick your own points. Okay, but for the sake of these examples, I picked your points where they intersected. Like this line here, these were the only 2 points where it did intersect nicely with the y and x, the only pretty points. Okay, there was nothing here, nothing here. But like, see this one? Okay, we could have done the same thing. We could have started here, or sorry, here, and went 1, 2, 3 over 1. So you still would have got that. What if we started all the way up here and then went all the way down here? Let's try it. So let's pretend we didn't pick this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have been our rise. We're going down, so it was negative. Okay, and then we went over 1, 2. Okay, well, negative 6 over 2 simplifies to negative 3, or negative 3 over 1. And let's real quick talk about positive, negative, 0, and undefined. Okay, so this is a positive slope. Okay, you always read your graphs from left to right just like you're reading a book. This is a negative slope. Okay, this is 0. Straight up and down is undefined. Okay, so some ways to help you think of this is if I have a person here, okay, they would have to, from left to right, they would be climbing the mountain. Okay, they would be going up the mountain, so it's a positive slope or positive rate of change. Okay, this person, if I'm walking from left to right, would be going down the mountain. Okay, so that is a negative rate of change or slope. Now these two, okay, this guy will just be walking along. He doesn't have to climb. He doesn't have to go down the hill. There's no rate of change. Okay, if you tried to walk down this, okay, that would be scary. Okay, you might fall and you would end up being undefined. Okay, so kind of a silly way to remember the differences between 0 and undefined.